I don't know whether they'll allow him to take part. It depends, as Brough told you earlier, just how much he's taken out of himself. But back to that video that we saw, Parthian Springs, John, ultimately a most decisive winner, but he took time to warm up. This is a better race too.
And he also might be suffering a little bit as the last horse we've just seen, Magnificent Devil, in as much as that was a run on fairly firm ground, and he looked for all the world as though he'd appreciate some cut there. Might be worth asking Graham what he thought of him on the way down to the post.
Yes, he didn't move that well, John. Just a little bit pottery. Just a little bit pottery for a 5-2 favourite in a competitive race.
And Parthian Springs has group entries, one in the Yorkshire Cup and one in the Gold Cup at Royal Ascot. They're both over distances a fair bit further than today's 1.5 miles. So if there's a further improvement in him, which clearly his trainer anticipates, it looks like it's going to be over further, and presumably this will be the tester to see whether he's up to those. The race at Newmarket, which you've just seen, was a lot less competitive than this. Several winners in this field. Wishing is one of them. Gary Carter riding this one for Reg Akehurst. This horse is well handicapped on the pick of his efforts for his former trainer, Richard Hannon. Lost his way last year, but revitalised by Reg Akehurst, and he won at Kempton a couple of weeks ago.
A quarter of a mile to go, and it's Wishing who's responding to treatment under Gary Carter from Chatham Island. Here comes Wayne County and Shadow Leader on the very wide outside. Backgammon and General Mukhtar, they come past the furlong pole, and on the outside Shadow Leader in the dark blue and yellow. Wishing with the white sleeves. From nowhere Glide Path has found room, but it's Wishing who's stretching his neck out as they race up towards the line. Wishing's going to take it. Wishing tidily from Shadow Leader.
Well, did all of his best work in the closing stages. I thought Wishing, he looked as though he's going to get swallowed up as he turned for home there. Had Endless Light and a bit on the side who reopposed today behind him. But he's a grand little horse, as Jim was telling you earlier. Compared on the pick of his form for Richard, he's well handicapped. He was always very well regarded, and then probably just not right last year. And not surprisingly, the horse Rainbow Walk that we saw going faster than a walk onto the way to the post has been withdrawn. Well, Tudor Island's been a grand servant to Clive Britton. He's done plenty of racing over 1 mile in 6 furlongs, but he's run well on 2 or 3 occasions when he's been tried at shorter trips. Ideally though, a test of stamina is what suits him.
This horse owned and bred by David Seif, and rather like the horse's sire, Jupiter Island, he appears to be improving with age. There's no doubt now that Tudor Island's a much better horse than he was 12 months ago. A slight query about him going well here would only be that he's reverting in distance from 1 3/4 miles to 1.5 miles, and a couple of the others are coming up in distance and improving too. So his task compared to last time is definitely a fair bit stiffer. Second favourite, Blushing Flame, very unlucky at Kempton on his reappearance. Hampered by a horse that lost its rider in the early stages, and then hampered again by it on the home turn, and a lot of ground to make up, and did so willingly, but the post came just in time for the winner. Special Dawn, who it has to be said didn't do much for the form there. On John, on what's a really warm day, he's hardly turned a hair, this animal.
Yeah, it's a lovely horse. He improved throughout the back end of last season too, and he's one to follow for the year.
Rainbow Walk, 100-to-1 chance at withdrawal, no deductions on any bets under Rule 4. Very solid 5-2 Parthian Springs. There 1 or 2 bookmakers are showing 11-4 against it, as money comes for Blushing Flame from 7-2 into 3-1. Now I said we're all praying for a winner today. We're all wishing for one as well, but Wishing I don't think is going to win this out from 4-1. 6-1 they're showing Wishing, and 10-1 bar the 3. Bit on the side, back 20-1 from 33, bit on the side.
And just about lined up now, Blushing Flame, the last one to go in for this Ladbroke First Sunday handicap. 1.5 miles, and they break away and out in a pretty good line. Highbrook towards the inside in a noseband, slightly slow to stride. Bouncing out well was the recent course winner Tudor Island with Marsoom. Those two going on to dispute it from Arctic Thunder in 3rd place. And then Blushing Flame towards the inside in a blue cap. Out wide is the jolly old favourite Parthian Springs, racing 3 deep at this stage under Frankie Dettori as they prepare to make a right-hand turn, and their only turn here. 1.25 miles left to go, and the leader is Marzoom by a couple of lengths to Tudor Island in second, and then Arctic Thunder towards the outside in the sheepskin noseband. Blushing Flame is locked away towards the inside, then in fourth place from Parthian Springs, and there's our leader Marzoom, who's running along merrily in the lead. 2 lengths to Tudor Island in the pale blue, then in third place and awash with sweat there, Arctic Thunder in the noseband. The inside is Blushing Flame from the favourite Parthian Springs with the green cap. Frankie Dettori with his hands full, wishing on the inside then of Microlight in the blue visor, and then a couple of lengths behind those we have Beecham Hero in orange. Behind that one is Highbrook, who was slow to stride. Well down the heath then still, and right out the back at this stage Endless Light, and if you back bid on the side, she's last. They head towards the final 6 furlongs, and it's Marzoom on the inside, but joined now by Arctic Thunder, who's travelling strongly. In third then is Tudor Island. Parthian Springs has them well within his sights in fourth place. A couple of lengths to Blushing Flame behind those. Microlight is improving under Willie Carson. They've got 4.5 furlongs left to go. Marzoom is the hare, the one to the catch, but Arctic Thunder right there. Here's Graham Good in the grandstand.
And travelling powerfully as well, that Arctic Thunder on the outside. Pushed along is Tudor Island. Parthian Springs in the green cap on the extreme right of the picture, but on the front end, it's still Marzoom and Jason Weaver. There goes the favourite Frankie Dettori, getting a dream run through on the inside. Endless Light in dark green. Microlights with a run too. Blushing Flame starts to pick up. Highbrook is out the back. Wishing won't be winning. On the yellow colours on the right, bit on the side starts to go forward, but a lot of ground to make up as they come past the two, and it's Arctic Thunder pressed on the outside by Parthian Springs. Here goes the favourite Parthian Springs into the lead as they race down into the dip, just over 200 metres to go, and Parthian Springs, the champion jockey Frankie Dettori, goes on. Marzoom rallying here from the back. Blushing Flame in red is finishing well. Beecham Hero in orange is finishing with a flourish, but Parthian Springs is going to take it at the post. Parthian Springs is the winner. A photo for second place between Blushing Flame and Beecham Hero, then Marzoom. Then bit on the side, Arctic Thunder, Microlight, Tudor Island, and Wishing, an Endless Light who dropped away, beating one only, and that one was Highbrook. And so the result then of this, the Ladbroke first Sunday handicap, it was over 1.5 miles, but the 11-4 favourite Parthian Springs has won in the colours of the Hesmond stud. This one trained here at Newmarket by John Gosden and ridden by Frankie Dettori, our champion jockey, and his 67th winner of the season. Close call for second place between nearest to us, number 6, Blushing Flame, but also in that is the 1 horse Beecham Hero. So it's Blushing Flame in the blue cap and Beecham Hero in the orange colours. They're the second and third. To this, our favourite Parthian Springs, who's come home completing a hat-trick, and a horse that's certainly going the right way. Despite pottering down to the start, he's come back with a real flourish.
Turned out to be a good race, this, in the end. It looked as though it was going to be dominated by Marzoom and Arctic Thunder, but they'd gone a good clip throughout, and when it got to the last furlong and a half, well, the race suddenly began to change as Parthian Springs and Frankie Dettori came to challenge on the outside. Blushing Flame, if you back that one, well, he was going up and down. Took a long time to get into gear. Looks for all the world like he wants another couple of furlongs at least. And coming through from the back in the sheepskin noseband, one to keep an eye on, bit on the side when there's a little bit more cut in the ground. But Parthian Springs, Jim, he's come through this race nicely.
Yes, so you wondered whether he'd go a second time on the fastest ground, just hanging out as they go down into the dip, but he's got such an odd action, it probably really doesn't suit him ideally. But once they've met the rising ground, he's lengthened well for Frankie Dettori. On the outside in orange, John Reed, just going through the necessary motions on Beecham Hero. Not hard on that one first time out, ran a blinder. And remember, Beecham Hero, an seemingly an exposed handicapper against 2 improving types here, and has run really well under his big weight.
Punters' prayers are answered on the Sabbath. Dettori and Gosden win with the 11-4 favourite, Parthian Springs. Very solidly back, though it did touch 3-1 in a couple of places. 11-4, Parthian Springs the favourite. Very, very close for second, as you've seen, between the second favourite, Blushing Flame, who was sent off Burlington Bertie 100-30, and the top one, Beecham Hero, a 16-1 chance, Beecham Hero. But Parthian Springs really has knocked back the bookmakers, and standing here in Tats, the crowds are really round the bookmakers, queuing up to draw their money over the 11-4 favourite, Parthian Springs. The good Lord is looking down on us today.
Frankie Dettori, his 67th winner of the season. Got cracking and on the all-weather. And I just think those early days of the year, going around Wolverhampton with the wind in your face and getting cold with the rain, seem a long way ago now. Lovely big horse, this.
I was just going to say, he's a nice type, isn't he? And you can quite see that he'll improve again when he gets further. Admittedly, if he runs in one of those group races, the opposition will be far sterner. But he's well worth a step up now. Quite a bonny sort. Nice to see Frankie acknowledging the applause, like a batsman that's just completed a half-century.
Number 1, Motion. Hero.
He realises a big crowd here, many of them his fans.
John Gosden.
Number 2,
He gave that one a big kiss.
Number 11.
I think it's just nice when you get a good horse like this that's got is well mannered. Probably been riding, as I said, around the all-weather tracks for 2 or 3 months on horses half running away. Can't steer them, can't do much with them. Just talking to John Gosden, he's had a good few days here, of course, with presenting and Tamur yesterday.
The dam of this horse was a really good race mare, Princess Patty, and her son is gradually beginning to live up to something like she was. Let's confirm all the details with Rory.
Thanks, Jim. Yes, it was first number 3, Parthian Springs, the 11-4 favourite. Second number 6, Blushing Flame at 100-30. And third number 1, Beecham Hero at 16-1. The non-runners were number 12, Bayrak, who was taken out well before racing, and number 8, Rainbow Walk, who bolted on the way to the start and was withdrawn. 11 round.
Look at this crowd round here. Now we are in the middle of the breeding season, of course, and we do our best to help the breeders, and certainly if there is a fatality amongst the foster mares, the mares or the foals, we try and help. Now we have news as Frankie goes in, smiling as always, and he'll be looking forward to his big race ride later on Moonshell as he goes in to weigh in after riding yet another winner for the young 22-year-old Italian. He was just inched out of it last year on Balanchine, but he rides Moonshell, another raider from Dubai this afternoon. Now we have news of a foster mare required. Foster mare required, if you can help, in Market Drayton, Shropshire, and the number is 01630 647 197. Now I know we get a lot of letters from stud people saying thank you, they can make them, and a foster mare is required for a little foal. If you can help, take this number down, 01630 647 197.
And that's a service to the stud industry, a service to the training industry, perhaps. Here, one particular trainer, Dancing Braves trainer, Guy Harwood. 1986 was Dancing Brave, and I must say, did yesterday's 2000 guineas measure up to that brilliance? I rather think not. I think the measurement of greatness, they've still got to quite get to it. Great race though, splendid race though it was yesterday. Anyway, Guy Harwood has got a particularly painful problem. His favourite gun dog, Bella, a Labrador, black Labrador bitch, went missing at Coomlands, that's near Pulborough, a week ago. She's very well trained, as the best gun dogs all are. She's an extremely nice person, and she comes to the name Bella. So if for any reason you see her confused, I can remember losing a dog myself, confused a bit, call for Bella and call Guy Harwood at Coomlands stables at Pulborough, because it's a horrible moment to think that she's been away for a week now, and she might easily have got caught somewhere, and maybe if she gets thinner, she might get away. Anyway, as a big, substantial reward too. So if anyone's got into it for the wrong reasons, you actually can make some money by getting off your own hook. News from the last.
Yes, it's the tote returns, Bruff. Win number 3, £3.20. Places number 3.
British Airways. We cover the world.
Le Carre, the supreme storyteller. His new masterpiece, Our Game, out now.
4 cans of Indiana Gold are £2.99 at Sainsbury's.
Where are you going, son?
I'm off to that place called Sainsbury.
Where?
Facile de vous aimer, de passer toute sa vie avec bien.
Our 3 luxury cruise ferries from Portsmouth to France are like 5-star hotels. The only difference is you only stay one night. P&O European Ferries, Britain's #1 ferry company.
The runners coming towards the 1.25 start for the Madigan's Pretty Polly Stakes. An Oaks trial. 3 of these are in the Oaks. There's a Mercedia, Alicia and Lyre. Here with the full list is Graham Good.
And the favourite is Germain at 3-1. Michael Fenton rides. The stalls for this race positioned on the stand side. Circa is 14-1 chance with Frankie Dettori. Musetta 14-1 with Brett Doyle. That looks big. Alessio at 92 is ridden by Michael Hills. Alpha Sealer is partnered by Mick Kinane at 8-1. Fangica 12-1 for Richard Quinn. Lyre 6-1 with Willie Carson. Watch the Clock 92 with Jason Weaver. And the runners are down at the start. The distance of this race is 1.25 miles, and it's a straight 1.25 miles to boot.
The eye catchers here in the paddock, it was Circa who John Franken fancied most, if I can use the word carefully. On the course, Watch the Clock was the one that was noticeable going down. No real buzz for anything in the ring on the positive side, but on the negative, the McCrick nostrils have smelt out Germain as not tasting too good at the moment.
Well, a negative from Germain in the ring, and I must say, if you were going around the paddock, she's not negative in terms of her physical well-being, but as a specimen, well, she looks as though she could do with a good feed. She's just made that way. She's leggy and sparely made, but there's no doubt she can run a bit. She was 4th in the Nell Gwyn Stakes, 5 lengths behind myself, and after that Michael Bell and his team decided to aim her more on an Oaks campaign, so she takes in the Pretty Polly Stakes with that in mind.
Yeah, she's incredibly game, Germain. Unusual colouring for anybody who's come racing or goes to have a look at her. It's like a conker with lots of lighter streaks running vertically. Let's have a look at Alessia. Didn't look anywhere near as well in her coat. Look as though that she'd improve. And she only had 3 runs last year, this filly. She's by Caerleon. She wound up winning here and put in a gutsy performance to just hold on from Jumeirah. That was back in October. That was her 3rd run. And she's got plenty of size and scope for improvement.
Willie Carson's mount, Lilia, will be going in with the typical Monty Roberts sequence of a rope halter and a blanket. She's a little bit of a character. She's an attractive filly, this, by Shirley Heights, out of a good mare called Linguinant, by Persian Bold. Looked a bit of a stayer at 2. Overall, I thought maybe unfair to say her final run was disappointing because it was in a Group 3 event. She'd been running in maidens, but she's shown potential in maidens, and I thought she might actually run better than was the case in Ireland. This is her first attempt on a fast surface. Going in with a noseband, watch the clock. This filly, who was third to Joral in a listed race at Newmarket. Perhaps the most interesting one is already installed. That's number 6, Fangica. She's already run second to the Italian Guineas winner, Olympia Dukakis.
On the go, the last one's coming in.
So she's a good runner in her own right. Here's a good caller in his own right.
Thank you, Jim. And away they jump for the Madigan's Pretty Polly Stakes. Or rather Musetta right there towards the near side, with Circa pulling hard in the green cap towards the outside, refusing to settle. Germain settling in second place in the red jacket with red and white hoop sleeves. They're crawling along at the moment, barely 31 miles per hour. And it's Musetta that's setting this slow gallop to Circa in second on the outside, then of Alpha Sealer and Germain in the red and white. Lyre towards the outside then from Watch the Clock in a noseband as we close in on Brett Doyle on Musetta. He rides Autumn Affair, Brett, in the Madigan's 1,000 guineas in half an hour's time. Circa is second, Germain in third, then Alpha Sealer and Lyre the outside, and they're followed behind those by Watch the Clock, and towards the rear at this stage Fangica, and Alessia is wagging the tail. Approaching the final 6 furlongs, the leader Musetta there in the black sleeve jacket from Circa in second, Germain towards the near side, nicely tucked away, Lyre out wide in a red cap, followed by Alpha Sealer. The pace has quickened to 35. Then the near side Watch the Clock from Fangica, and still Alessia towards the rear. They've got about 5 furlongs to go now, and Musetta's never been out of the pole position still, by 2 lengths to on the outside Circa. Germain waiting to pounce. 4 furlongs to go. Here's Graham Goode in the grandstand.
A very slow early pacing, could be a rush at the end. Musetta still just has the edge. Star Sleeve Jacket Circa going after Frankie Dettori in second place, pushing that one along now. Germain, the favourite with the hoop sleeves, runs next to the rails. Lear on the outside, the red cap, yellow colours. Alpha Sealer, red with the blue cap. Watch the Clock is going to be looking for room as they come down to the 2 furlong point. And it's Musetta that still has the edge. Circa, Watch the Clock the outside. Alpha Sealer, Lear behind these. Fangica in yellow is coming there strongly, 3 from the left. But it's still Musetta and Brett Doyle who have the edge. They've got a furlong to go, and it's Musetta with the lead. Here goes Fangica in the yellow colours down the centre of the track. They'd all had racing in Italy last year on soft ground. Musetta still has it, but Fangica is really flying. Musetta and Fangica battle up towards the line. Musetta, Fangica 1 and 2. Lear is third, and then came Watch the Clock in front of Alicia, and the field trail back to Circa, who was last of all. And so the result then of this, the Madigan's Pretty Polly Stakes. It's a win for number 3, Musetta, in the colours of Mr. B.H. Vogue, trained here at Newmarket by Clive Britton, ridden by Brett Doyle. This horse has an entry in the Oaks, 14 to 1. She started at today in this Madigan's Pretty Polly Stakes. Second horse home is number 6, Fangica, ridden by Richard Quinn. And the third horse home was number 7, Lear, partnered by Willie Carson. So, if 3 is your favourite number, well, 3 have won the first 3 races, because here's the third, number 3, Musetta. Made all the running over this 1.25-mile trip. Really quick in the game with 2 furlongs to go. They tried to come and take her, but they couldn't get past her, this Musetta. Well, she's won.
Well, John Frankham said to me after about 100 yards, this won't get headed, because he thought it might be a tactical affair. And you really thought that the winner was enjoying herself in front?
Well, she was lobbing along. She had plenty of ability as a 2-year-old, and she looked as though she'd grown into herself. And they really allowed her to go along. She was enjoying herself, which I think was the most important thing. She had first run as they got up the hill. I thought the eventual second, Fangica, she's done well to get as close to her as she did. Probably the unlucky one, didn't have much of a split, was Alessia, Barry Hill's runner. That one will improve for the run. But Musetta continuing the good form of Clive Britton's runners. She's won well, and she'll get further. Well, jockey's Freddie Head just waiting to get the all clear, weighing out for the 1,000 guineas in front of Brian Rouse and Willie Ryan.
And in the background, Richard Hughes. Swinburne just coming along in colours that he'll be wearing belonging to the owners of Gay Gallant. It's quite interesting, John, how a bit of responsibility almost, I don't mean this rudely, it improves people. Brett Doyle was doing quite nicely as a rider, but he and Mark Rimmer have had increased opportunities because of Michael Roberts' decision to ride in Japan. And Brett rode a lovely race on that, didn't he?
Did nothing wrong at all. And the other thing is that these boys are riding the horses out most mornings. They get to know them. But I just think you feel a little bit more part of the team. And getting the opportunities, deservedly so. And of course, the whole thing's right. Clive Britton's horses probably not firing on all cylinders last year, but there's no doubt that they are this term.
And I've got hugely disappointing news for so many of us. The news that now Celtic Swing, the runner-up in the Madigan's 2000 Guineas, misses the Vodafone Derby. That is the latest news. Owner Peter Saville is quoted as saying that he prefers to take on the French if he has to, on better ground and on a flatter course than at Epsom. So the news just in, owner Peter Saville has confirmed that Celtic Swing will miss the Vodafone Derby. That means all the anti-post bets down the winter, they've all been lost, and it now looks as though penny count will be an odds-on chance. The bookmakers will now go odds-on penny count for the Vodafone Derby. Celtic Swing out of it. Betting, of course, far lighter on this pretty Polly. And the only significant market move was the opposition to Germain, and the winner, Musetta, was the complete outsider of the 8 runners. 14-1 Musetta. It was the longest price of the whole lot. The runner-up, Fanjika, at 12-1, 6-1 against Leah. They sent Germain off, the 11-4 favourite, but all that pales into such disappointment that when it goes round the racecourse, round the country, so looking forward to the Vodafone Derby, the renewed clash of Celtic Swing and Pennycamp will not now take place. Celtic Swing misses the Derby.
Well, that's really disappointing news, of course, but in a way, having watched Celtic Swing yesterday, he didn't look anything like the horse he did at 2 on a soft surface. Mac has got wide views about how some assessors viewed his performance, but it's fair to say that when he was wonderfully impressive, it was on a soft surface, and you probably saw yourself, if you follow racing at all, that when he was racing down into the dip, he didn't really stretch out on the firm ground, and it's far more accentuated at Epsom, the requirement to do that, than it is here. You can call it a flaw in the horse's makeup if you like, but it seems to make sense in view of that to go to France, where there's every chance he might get an easier surface. Anyway, this filly, trained by Clive Britton, is a daughter of Cadeau Genera, who was a brilliant sprinter, who cracked the track record on the July Cup day, about 2 miles away from here, trained by the late Alex Scott. And the dam, Monair, by Sharif Dancer, and not as we've got there. The dam, sire of the dam also of Harayir, one of the favourites in the 1000. Well, you got a sneak preview of the SP, but those of you who had a bet, you want to see it confirmed in detail and at length. Here's Rawls.
Thanks, Jim. Yes, here it is in detail. First, number 3, Musetta, 14-1. Second, number 6, Fanjika at 12-1. And third, number 7, Leah at 16-1. The unsuccessful favourite, number 1, Germain at 11-4. The tote returns, win number 3, £21.80. Places 3, £3.10. 6, £2.40. And number 7, £2 exactly. The dual forecast, £38.40, 8 round. And 6-1, we just confirmed that change there. 6-1 it was for number 7, Leah.
I'm always urging you to join the Channel 4 Punters Club. The great advantages you have, you send £6 in for membership, you get a £5 back straight away in tote vouchers, plenty of other benefits, and one of them is the competitions you can go in. And here we've got a couple of winners of a recent Channel 4 Punters Club competition. So, Christine Ramsdale, what was the question that they asked you that was so hard for you to answer? Tell us.
Really think about it. As far as I can remember, it was, who's the Lord of Channel 4 Racing?
Well, the Lord of Channel... So, Bob, you were able to answer that?
Yes, Lord Oaksey, no problem.
I see, of course. We have a lot of problems with Lord Oaksey. There was no problem with that. What was the reason that you joined the Punters Club?
Well, it was Christine's birthday not too long ago, and I enrolled her as a member.
She was 21 at the time, was she?
Not quite, not quite. 20. And with the benefits, as you say, there's special offers, competitions, Christine Lights competitions. We've won.
Are you regular race goers?
No, but we will be. After
because of the Punters Club, that will make you, that's the object, is to make people come racing. What are the advantages? Why will you come racing? Because you're a member of the Punters Club.
We've enjoyed this weekend.
You can't win competitions all the time. They're not such easy questions as that. They'll be asking, who's the fat arm-waving lunatic on Channel 4?
We've really enjoyed this weekend. Everyone's so friendly. The next race meeting, we'll definitely be going to one of them.
Now,